Hi duckies, hi duckies. I'm back with a video now, as you can tell from the name of this vlog. It is the freshbrewpodcast.co.uk replacement. Oh, excuse me. I'll do that again. It's the freshbrewpodcast.co.uk replacement service. So we're starting with an apology again. I'm burping. I've just drunk some water. Forgive me. Bubba's not well. He was unable to do the podcast today because he wasn't feeling very well, and he did want to do it, but I didn't want to put him through the grief of doing the show when he was a bit poorly, and I didn't think it was fair to put him through that, and the bubbliness of the show wouldn't have been there because he was feeling a bit bleh. So get well soon, Ducky. But that's why we're not doing the podcast. So I thought what I'd do is I would do a vlog and briefly explain what I was going to talk about and my thoughts on what's going on. So what we were going to discuss was the election, and if you were following my Instagram feed about, I think it was, I don't know, about 4 weeks ago, you would have seen, or 2 weeks ago maybe, you would have seen that I was writing up the show, episode 100 of the Fresh Brew podcast.co.uk. I was writing up the show, and in Bubba's kitchen, in his new flat, his new apartment. He doesn't like calling it a flat. He likes calling it an apartment because it's posh, and it's the flat's posh. I've lost my train of thought. I'll get it back in a minute. Oh yes, so he's feeling a bit poorly. So we were going to do we were going to discuss the election, and I'd been writing the show up in the kitchen, but we were unable to bring it to you because basically we were moving a lot of stuff over to Bubba's flat, and time was getting on, and he does freelance work for a company in Southampton, and he had to be at work early in the morning on the Tuesday. So rather than make him not get a good night's sleep where we would have been doing the podcast, I decided we won't do it. You go home, get some kit, and we'll do it today. But he's not feeling well, so we've not done it. So I'm doing this vlog, as I've said. So it was about the election, and basically I was going to discuss how it was funny that Theresa May had decided to say five or seven times that there would be no general election and then change their mind. And also, I was also going to basically talk about how well Labour is doing at the moment. Now, the Tories are going to win this general election, I think, quite convincingly. They're going to have a majority anyway. They're so far ahead in the polls. Some polls that came out today, the 29th of May 2017, basically said that the Tories were anything from 7 to 14 points in the lead. Some polls gave them a 6-point lead, and that's basically going to give them a majority. They don't have to worry. They'll get a majority. But Labour is picking up votes in the sense that more and more people are coming across to Labour. The more they see Jeremy Corbyn on the campaign trail, the more they warm to him, the more they like the way he talks, the way he discusses things. When the Labour manifesto was launched, a lot of people warmed towards it. I won't go into the details of the manifesto too much, but it was talked about renationalisation, rent controls, new defence plan, more increase in security in the wake of the Manchester attacks, stuff like that. And it warmed people up. It made people more interested in what Labour had to say, and their manifesto really caught the eye. And then we had the Tory manifesto, where the Tories seemed to be douching all over their core voters. Core voters being the boomers, the baby boomers, but their plans for social welfare payments by taking money off people from their retirement and their homes and taking it away to pay for social care if they get dementia or something like that was terrible. The boomers were terrified. They felt they couldn't hand anything down to their kids and grandkids. It would all be taken away and given to the government to spend on social care, their social care. Now, the Tories have done a sort of U-turn, although they're saying it's not a U-turn, and they've basically talked about how they're going to have a cap of around 80 to £100,000 or over £100,000 as a cap to then hand down to the families. But the boomers were terrified at this proposal, and a lot of them have moved over to Labour. I've been listening to a lot of LBC on my radio, London's, it's not London Broadcasting Company anymore, it's London's leading Britain's conversation, they say. The radio station originally had a split mix on its radio show, but after the manifestos came out, a lot of people were phoning up saying, I might vote for Corbyn now. I think I like the cut of his jib. And a lot of women are beginning to move over to Jeremy Corbyn as well, which is very interesting because on the whole, women vote as a gender, if you like, as a group of people. Women tend to vote more than men. So that pays off. Now, I'm not saying Labour's going to win the general election. I can't see that. I can't see it. People in this country are too concerned about what Brexit is going to bring, and they're still worried about the deficit. And they feel the Tories are a better government. And a lot of people don't trust Jeremy Corbyn, and a lot of people don't, well, they don't trust him. They don't feel like he's sound. I mean, I'm a bit of a worry over Jeremy Corbyn because I don't like what he says over the Falkland Islands. But the people are flocking to him. A lot of people are beginning to move over to him. Now, I think, this is a prediction, I am saying he's not going to win the general election. I would be surprised if he wins the general election. I don't think it'll be a hung parliament either. That would be another radical step if it was a hung parliament. I think the Tories are going to win, but I've got a feeling Corbyn may do better, maybe do better than Ed Miliband at the most. And I think if he does pull it out the bag and he does get maybe two more seats in Scotland and maybe pulls the vote around, as I say, to give him more percentage points or more votes than Ed Miliband got as Labour leader in the 2015 general election, I think personally he could then have a good mandate or a good position to say, I'm staying on as leader. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I'm one of these people that feels you don't necessarily have to resign as leader of your party if your party loses a general election. Neil Kinnock stayed at the helm and transformed the Labour Party and set it up to what Tony Blair took over and then ran as New Labour. But he was in for at least 2 election campaigns. He was leader. He was leader for the 87 election, and he was leader for the 1992 general election. And after he lost the 1992 general election, he stepped down. Paddy Ashdown was leader of the Liberal Democrats for, I think, 9 years, and he fought 2 general elections, maybe 3, but I think he fought also 2 general elections, and he didn't resign after failing, not getting anywhere with the first vote. Yes, you could argue that Paddy Ashdown had the basic system with the Liberal Democrats. Why he didn't step down as leader, because they increased their vote when he was in charge of the Liberal Democrats, and they increased their MPs when he was in charge of the Liberal Democrats. But he still could have stepped down if he hadn't won the election, but he chose to stay on. Now, I think this is what Jeremy Corbyn may do. He may not fall on his sword. He may in fact use it if Labour does do well in this general election and better than everybody's predicted. He may use that as a mandate to stay on as leader of the Labour Party. Now, I would love to tell you how I vote. and maybe I will in future vlogs. I think you all know how I'm going to vote anyway. If you know me from the podcast and these vlogs, you know how I'm going to vote anyway. I'm a bit of a socialist, so there's no hiding how I'm going to vote. I just feel that this election is now gone flat after the sad, horrendous bombings in Manchester. But they're beginning to pick up, and I think they picked up today after the debates that were held on on Sky, Channel 4 and LBC. I listened to it on LBC. I didn't watch it on the TV. I listened to it on LBC, which I felt better doing because I could concentrate more on what the leaders were saying. I felt Jeremy Corbyn came across better than Theresa May. I think he did well and much better against Paxman than Ed Miliband had in the last joint debate by the TV channels and the radio stations. And I think he came across much better, and I got the impression more people are impressed with him in the audience. Theresa May didn't come across bad. She came across determined, focused, but she got a lot of people laughing at her, and there was a time when the questioning got funny, and halfway through one of her answers, the audience started to heckle her and basically have a go at her for what she was saying. I think they were accusing her of hypocrite. I can't remember what she was talking about at the time, but yes, they were doing that. The election is going to be an interesting one, but as I say, it's going to be the Tories that are going to win it. They're so far ahead in the polls. I think that's fairly obvious that's going to happen. So, but wait and see how Labour do, and if they do better than everybody's predicting, I'm predicting Jeremy Corbyn's going to try and stay on. He may not. I may be wrong, but I think he will try and stay on. So that's basically what we were going to discuss, me and Bubba, backwards and forwards. I thought I would do this vlog to basically fill you in on what's going on and give you something to listen to, and so you can get the main things that we were talking about. I am going to do a couple more vlogs in the near future, in the next week or so. Look out for those. We'll be trying to get back to normal with the freshbrewpodcast.co.uk as soon as possible. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks as normal. And yeah, that's what we were going to discuss on the show. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. I hope you've stuck with me for the 13 minutes or so that I've been nattering away. I wanted to give you something rather than you go without anything, seeing as we couldn't do the podcast. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Oh, duckies, if you want to check out all my social media, check out Twitter at Lenny Auckland. That's Twitter at Lenny Auckland, and Instagram I am at Lenny_Auckland, and Lenny is spelt Lennie, and Auckland is spelt Auckland. Okay guys, thanks very much, and I'm going to see if this works. I've put it on the table as close as possible to see if this will work. It's my Bluetooth connected to the phone, onto the phone that I'm filming this on, and most of the time it doesn't work after a certain amount of time. The Bluetooth disconnects, so I'm going to try it and hopefully it'll work. So I'm going to say, see you later duckies, and have a good one. Bye! No, it doesn't work. So I'm going to do it manually. Bye duckies, bye!